I received a game key for Ufophilia from Jandusoft for review purposes. Ufophilia is a first-person sci-fi horror simulator developed by K148 Game Studio and published by Jandusoft. It launched on PC and PlayStation 5 on January 29th of 2026, with an Xbox Series X and S release following on February 25th of 2026, and a Nintendo Switch version planned for later. This is a game made for people who love UFO lore, alien conspiracies, and the uneasy feeling of poking at something that really does not want to be understood. Each mission drops you into a reported hotspot of alien activity and asks you to figure out exactly what kind of extraterrestrial is present using a range of investigative tools. Get it right and document the encounter. Get it wrong and you may not make it out at all. The tone leans heavily into horror with flickering lights, rearranged furniture, sudden shadows, and alien faces appearing just long enough to make you second guess everything. There is no traditional story driving Ufophilia forward. You are not following characters, uncovering lore through dialogue, or moving toward a narrative ending. Instead, the premise is simple and functional. You are an investigator obsessed with UFOs, jumping from location to location based on reported encounters. The lack of story actually works in the game's favor, since it keeps the focus on atmosphere deduction and player knowledge. The mystery comes from the systems themselves, and from learning how each alien behaves rather than from scripted plot beats. Gameplay is where Ufophilia really shows both its strengths and its rough edges. At first, it can feel overwhelming and even unfair. The game throws a lot of information at you and does very little hand-holding. Over time though, things start to click. The loop revolves around entering a location, gathering data with your tools, identifying which alien is present, locating its spawn zone, and then dealing with the alien in the specific way it demands so you can safely photograph it. Completing a mission earns you experience and Roswell points, which unlock new locations, tools, and upgrades in the shop. The more you play, the more readable the systems become, and the tension shifts from confusion to calculated risk. Each mission can be boiled down into two main goals. First, you need to identify the alien through careful observation and tool usage. Second, once you know what you are dealing with, you need to confront it correctly and get photographic evidence without being abducted. The game includes a wide range of investigative tools, such as EMF detectors, temperature readers, night vision cameras, remote microphones, microwave meters, spirit boxes, heart rate sensors, and more. Each tool provides clues that narrow down the list of possible aliens. A certain temperature range might point to one type. A specific reaction to lights going out might narrow it down to a few others. A radar signal, an audio response, or a visual distortion can push you closer to the answer. The challenge is that many signs overlap, so you are rarely handed a clear solution without cross-checking multiple readings. Once you identify the alien, the game shifts into a more dangerous phase. Every alien has its own behavior and its own rules. Some require you to crouch or stand still to safely take a photo. Others are invisible and can only be seen when your camera flash goes off. More aggressive aliens may need to be trapped or distracted before you can even think about pulling out the camera. Some are curious and will toy with you, while others escalate quickly if you push your luck. Aliens also have unique quirks that make each mission unpredictable. They may throw objects, whisper through your equipment, speak through the spirit box, slam doors, flick lights on and off, or stalk you silently from behind. Finding the spawn zone is especially important, since it helps you track where the alien is most likely to appear and prevents it from catching you completely off guard. The deeper you get into Ufophilia, the more its systems feed into one another. Knowing which alien you are dealing with is not enough on its own. You also need patience and restraint. There were plenty of moments where I correctly identified the alien but got greedy, stayed too long, or pushed for extra photos, and ended up abducted anyway. Losing a run can be frustrating, especially when you have spent a long time carefully gathering evidence. Progress often depends on how much time you are willing to invest and how well you can manage your nerves. Later missions introduce even more tools and more elaborate locations, which adds depth but also increases the mental load. One of the game's biggest issues is clarity. It is not always obvious whether a tool is malfunctioning, whether you are using it incorrectly, or whether you simply misunderstand what it is telling you. Some mechanics feel inconsistent, particularly tools like the temperature reader, which can sometimes appear to do nothing at all. Certain concepts may click in one mission and completely fall apart in the next, depending on the alien and the environment. This uncertainty feels intentional to a degree, but it can cross the line into irritation. When progress slows to a crawl, the game does offer an escape valve in the form of collectible items that grant Roswell points, even if you abandon the investigation. This helps reduce frustration, but it also means that unlocking content this way takes significantly longer and can feel like a consolation prize rather than a solution. Visually, Ufophilia keeps things simple. The environments are basic, but they are effective. Houses, buildings, and remote locations are laid out in ways that support tension and exploration without feeling overly complex. This is the type of game that becomes scarier when you are in regular looking environments. Lighting does a lot of the heavy lifting, with darkness, sudden shadows, and brief visual distortions creating unease. Alien silhouettes appearing at the edge of your vision or brief moments of blur help sell the horror without relying on constant jump scares. The different locations offer enough variety to change how you approach each mission, even if the overall visual style stays grounded and minimal. Audio is one of the game's strongest elements. The sound design reinforces the atmosphere constantly. Strange alien noises, distant thuds, whispered voices, and the robotic chatter of the spirit box all work together to keep you on edge. The beeps and hums of your equipment become part of the tension, especially when the house is otherwise silent. Sometimes the scariest moments come when nothing happens at all, and you are left listening to your own tools and footsteps, waiting for something to break the quiet. Ufophilia is a niche game, and if you enjoy slow burn horror, investigative gameplay, and learning systems through trial and error, there's a lot to like here. Running in and out of buildings, setting up tools, narrowing down possibilities, and finally risking everything for a photo can be genuinely thrilling. At the same time, the game can be frustrating, unclear, and punishing, especially for players who want more guidance or faster feedback. It asks for patience and tolerance for failure. For alien enthusiasts willing to meet it on its own terms, Ufophilia is a tense and absorbing experience that could easily eat up hours, even when it occasionally tests that patience along the way. I give Ufophilia a 6 out of 10.